Welcome to Spartan Up Podcast. You will notice that we are in Morzine France, incredible at the European Championships for Spartan Race. This guest went through really one of the hardest things a person can imagine. Find out how he bounced back, not only to recover, but to go out and make an incredible difference in the lives of others. This guy is so inspiring.
He's thriving.
Thriving.
He's thriving, and you forgot to mention we got Tim on your right,
we
got Sefra on your left, and we got Joe here.
We got Marion producing it all.
Marion producing, and I think people are going to be blown away and could use some of these tips in their own lives.
Yeah, Absolutely. It's a powerful one.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Duke Cannon. Visit DukeCannon.com right now to get 15% off your first order with the promo code SPARTAN. Free shipping on orders over $35.
All right, we are here in France for Spartan Up Podcast with Fran Martinez, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Angel Sanz, my buddy from Spain that runs Spartan Spain. And we've got an incredible story for you. We've got a rugged dad who had some tough times and came back strong, right? And now inspires a bunch of other parents. But why don't you translate? We're going to have to do some translation here.
Exactly. Lo que dice es, estamos aquí en Francia y lo que estamos es, hemos encontrado a Frank, que es un padre hecho y derecho, que tiene una manera tiene una historia de contarnos en la que él nos demuestra cómo se sale mucho más fuerte.
Yeah.
Español.
En español mejor, sí. Sí, bueno, hace 5 años...
What he's saying is 5 years ago he lost his son, Daniel, and from a very strange and undiagnosed sickness, and that it almost took him away. So first he had some people actually who helped him to get out of the hole, but the second, what he's kind of telling us is kind of surprising to him initially, is that he had Spartan as a way to come back stronger.
What was it about Spartan that helped you get through something so devastating as that?
Enseñarte, porque Spartan, como yo digo, es una metáfora de la misma vida. O sea,
so that the obstacle itself and the course is a metaphor of life for him. So he took it initially, and the fact that you know it at the finish line, and every time you go through an obstacle, you become stronger and bigger. But really, in his particular case, what he needed is to find the limit. He was pushing himself to the limit, and he was trying to find it. He couldn't find it, and as he has been pushed himself to be stronger and to actually feel the pain. He was saying that the pains made him grow. He's realized that the place where he could get it was in Spartan Race and nowhere else.
How old was his son when he died?
¿Cuántos años tenía tu hijo cuando?
Año y medio, un añito y medio.
18 months.
And only child?
¿Único hijo?
Sí.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a tough, I can't even imagine as a parent having to deal with that. So on the one hand, on the other hand, wonderful to hear that he's been able to overcome. What was he feeling like after that happened?
Dice que no se puede imaginar. Dice,
bueno, cuando, como bien dices, cuando eres padre, o sea, es antinatural perder a tu hijo.
So that initially, the first thing that he learned, even though that the son was fighting every day and suffering so much, he was giving him smiles, before dying. So the first thing he felt is pride. The second thing that you think is that it's anti-natural to losing a son. And the first thing that came to his mind was, if he's going, I'm going. I want to follow him. He was ready to go. That was, really the bottom point. Así es. So, primero es esto, luego dejaste, me quiero ir. Sigue lo siguiente.
A lot of people start drinking in a situation like this, or overeating, or some way that's how they cope with it.
Hay gente que lo que hace es que le da la bebida o come mucho o algo así. ¿Qué te pasó a ti?
Bueno, a mí personalmente lo que me pasó es...
He was diagnosed suicide trends. So drinking, eating, or anything nothing like that was going through his mind. He just wanted to go, just let go.
And so then he found Spartan at that moment, or
¿Encontraste Spartan en ese momento? ¿Qué pasó personalmente? ¿Tus compañeros, tu gente, tu mujer?
Sí, yo encontré...
2-3 weeks after his son died, his wife left him. You know.
Wow.
Igual era la mujer con la que había estado toda la vida, o sea, había
So, and that wife, she's been with her since they were 16. So in 1 year and a half, he had lost his son and the woman of his life.
And he found me.
And then entonces encontraste a Joe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Sí, al cabo de quizás un año después.
Then it took him a year after all this happened to live through the pain. And what he did is he went alone to a house in a mountain, which today he says that is the worst thing that he could have done, just separate from everybody, until he found two friends of him that went to pick him up and bring him out. He's Adri and Sara. Which,
Sí, entonces me llevaron a su casa, me acogieron, me curaron.
So these two friends, one of them actually is all the tattoos, his friend is a tattooer, gave him what he needed, which was love and sense of belonging and community. And so they told him that he should go and do some exercise. So this coach of his, who actually did our first Spartan race, made third, and told him, look, what you have to do is you have to come with us to do Spartan race. And this is how he made you.
Nice. What's next for him? Where's his mind now?
¿Y ahora qué? ¿Y ahora cómo estás? ¿Y cuál es tu siguiente paso?
Pues ahora estoy muy bien, muy bien. Reto tras reto.
Said, what mainly where he's now is he's well, he's recovered, healthy and emotionally and everything. But he realized now that it's time to make a step towards others. He's got himself in place, and he wants to do it to show, and through Spartan, to show to other parents that that life is wonderful. Actually, through pain you can go to wonder. And he's a living proof. You don't have to be a superhero to do a Spartan race. Just have to work, go find your limit, and take it to the next level. And then you can go through something so devastating as losing a son or breaking up a marriage.
Let's take a break. Maybe we'll run up the mountain
and come back.
All
right.
Don't worry, Spartans. We'll be right back in a moment. But right now, we want to take time out to talk about our sponsor, Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon is for men grooming, men's grooming products. And these guys make everything that today's man will need to smell good, to feel good, and to look good. Anything from soap to deodorant to some cream for your rough hands to beard balm to hair gels. Now, I personally don't need the beard balm and probably not using the hair gel, but the bloody knuckle hand cream, that's for me, because if you're out there and you're working with your hands or you're a Spartan, you're climbing the ropes, you're lifting weights, you know how rough your hands can get. So you put some of this cream on and it'll smooth that right out, and your significant other will thank you for that. And then after a good workout, use one of their really manly soaps, either the Old Milwaukee or the Buffalo Trace. This stuff smells woodsy. It smells like oak barrels, bourbon cask barrels, and it's inspired by World War II military vets, Korean War vets. This is the real deal stuff for men. So I encourage you to go ahead, visit DukeCannon.com right now and get 15% off on your first order with the promo code Spartan. Free shipping on orders over $35. All right, Spartan, let's get back to our interview.
All right. He's fast.
Yeah, tough mountain, by the way.
Tough mountain, he's fast. So how there's lots of parents that are going through tragedies like this. How do we get them more involved? Is that what he's doing?
Dice, hay muchos padres que pueden estar pasando por así. ¿Qué podemos hacer, por ejemplo, lo de Barcelona, para atraerles y ayudarles?
Primero, haciéndoles saber que no están solos, porque uno de los grandes problemas que tienen...
First thing, make them know that they are not alone. This is the first thing, that they need to feel that they are not alone. Something that he felt, very deeply and almost took him away. But this is the first, it's the message, straight message. We are not alone. ¿Y lo segundo?
Y lo segundo es...
the second thing is that those parents who have gone through this, they don't know, but they are so strong. They probably are some of the strongest people that we know, but they just don't know. So let's take them over to Spartan and show them how strong they are. And this is what we're doing in Barcelona, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And how many parents have you had through the system?
¿Cuántos padres tienen ahora mismo en el sistema los de FEDER?
Muchísimos. A lot of.
Thousands.
A lot of. Creo que la federación...
Yeah, more than 3,000 families.
Wow. That have experienced tragedy like this.
Yep.
Wow.
Or are going through that.
Or going through
at
it.
the moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's imagine, you know, it's not knowing.
Yeah.
And the son is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we want to do is.
Yeah. What could we do? How could we help?
Well, we are doing something in Spain actually from joining forces, which is it's called the Heroes Heat, right?
Yeah.
Because these parents are heroes
Yeah.
for us. Actually, they are more heroes than anybody. So what we want to do is invite them to do a race with us. So our elite athletes will
Yeah.
help them, so they don't feel alone. Like I'm not able to go through these obstacles.
Yeah.
He will help them, and then they will experiment really what a community can do for you. You know, so we'll have a spring hit in Barcelona this time, and then keep going and do it in all our races in Spain. So any parent
I love it.
that wants to show how strong they are, we as a Spartan do the community and
As a group.
as a group.
Yeah.
As a group. So that is specific hit. No, just invite them to do it.
I tell him I think we could take the special parents to Iceland on me. Like I'll give them entries.
Dice que una de las cosas que podemos dice
We could freeze away any remaining pain.
dice que vamos a congelar cualquier dolor que quede. Así que te vienes tú a Islandia o qué?
Sí, seguro, sure. Seguro.
I'm sorry he went through all that, but it sounds like there's a happy ending here, right? I mean, helping other people.
Dice, hombre, siente mucho después de esto, dice, pero tú...
Sí, pero yo no lo llamaría final. No lo llamaría final.
He said, yes, it's happy, but it's not an end. This is the beginning.
If people are listening out there and they're struggling with their own situation, what does he recommend that they
La
could
gente que
do?
te está escuchando ahora,
Es difícil porque cada persona es un mundo y es un universo. Cada uno tiene algo dentro, ¿no? Pero lo principal...
two pieces of advice. One is let people love you. That was his first lesson. You know, he didn't let people love him. You know, and the second thing is you have to love yourself. After you have been loved, you feel that people love you. Love yourself. Love yourself and do things that you like. Do things that you want. Hug when you want to hug. Kiss when you want to kiss. Those are the two cornerstones. There are many things, many other things, but those two were his.
Let people love you. Never heard that before, but he's right. Yeah, I'm not very good at that.
Dice, deja que la gente te quiera. Dice, nunca he oído, no he oído eso mucho. Dice, pero me gusta.
But maybe there's just not a lot of people that love me.
I love you, John.
Thank you.
After all this time.
Yeah. I'm very sorry.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well,
Good stuff.
This is transformation, Joe.
Yes, this is transformation.
This is really what
Yeah.
you and I talk.
Yeah.
That's why I'm in love with this guy. I love him
Yeah.
also, you know, and he loves me. And
Yeah,
has helped me
I'm
to
not
love
sure if
myself.
he loves you, but
Well, that's true, you know. It's just over the camera, you know.
Yeah.
And, but really, what I love about Spartan, I mean, I love, you know, going out the mountains. I love to be in shape and everything. But this is really what touches me.
oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's the whole reason we do it, the transformation.
Yeah, transformation is huge. You know,
Tremendous.
It's tremendous. So we have this story in Spain. Actually, what we're doing now is a documentary.
like it.
And what is happening now, this thing that he made up, is become a
movement.
reference. Yeah, a reference. It's called
Yeah.
Proyecto Daniel. And that thing, now the Queen of Spain, if everything goes as planned, will give us an award
Wow.
for being the business case, you see, if you wish, of how to actually bring things together.
I love it.
And how you can use sport, in our case, how we use a brand like ours,
Yeah.
to take help to another level. This is the purpose of sport.
Yes.
It's the purpose, you know.
I like that.
Sometimes,
I like it.
sometimes sport loses purpose, you know.
The purpose
we
of
find
sport.
it.
I like that. All right.
All right.
We are out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Purpose of sport.
The purpose of sport.
Good work.
All right.
Wow.
Okay, well done.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, that was kind of a tough interview. I mean, anytime you're talking to a parent that's lost a child, you know, you'd expect the dark moments. You'd expect some kind of introspection from that parent, and he went through all of that. But then, boom, he kind of came right out of it, right?
I went through something somewhat similar, but not nearly as bad. On our fourth child, I got a call. I was at a Spartan race from Courtney, and she was crying, and she couldn't even get out what she was trying to say. I jumped in the car, drove 5 hours, got there, and the priest was giving last rites to our baby Alex, our fourth baby.
Gosh.
And it looked like it was touch and go. It was a matter of minutes, they said. And the doctor walked in, and he said, on the weekends when they do the slides, they had done a spinal tap to test the baby for meningitis. They're not as good as the weekday doctors that do the slides. So let me just wait here a second to Courtney and I. We're going to get the slide, and we're going to do it again. And he came back and he said, "Oh, we were wrong. Everything's okay. You could take the baby home."
Yes.
So I didn't go through.
Right. So you're down and then back up.
up.
Is momentary. He went off to the mountains, kind of went into solitude.
So I only had that, and,
Right.
and that was a disaster, right? So
and he had the loss of a child, then compounded by the separation of his wife, which is understandable after a traumatic event.
I think that's quite
And
a common occurrence.
I believe it is. I'm no doctor, but I believe it is. And then he went off and he kind of sought solitude, but then he found out it was the wrong thing, right?
Yeah, that was interesting when instead of saying, here are all the things I did right, he said, this is what I did, and it was the wrong thing to do. And he mentioned his two friends who drew him back out, and that's something that, we focus on the individual sometimes, we have the individual racers, we have the individual guests, and so many of them talk about other people in the community and the people who pulled them out, and everyone has somebody who pulled them out at some point of something. And he referenced those two friends, and then he also said, I loved when it was, what's the one bit of advice you give to everyone? He said, let people love you.
Yeah.
I had never heard that before, and that's a great one,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
because I do tend to shrug people off, and I don't want to be hugged, and
Yeah, but that's,
especially
but that's-
Sefra, she could be like,
Yeah, but that's a physical
We love you,
manifestation, right?
yeah.
That's hugging. That's one kind of
I
love.
had
But
to break Colonel
ahead.
Nye into liking hugs.
Yeah, well, that's also from training. I never wanted to be in a position that could be
Understandable,
misunderstood.
sir.
Where I could be
Yeah,
misunderstood.
sure.
Sure.
That's
Is that why you don't let me hug you?
well, that's a whole different thing. I don't want misunderstanding about.
But the idea, though, that's a good point, though, that the idea of letting people love you, some people think love has one meaning, right? Love is being held. It doesn't. It means let people care about you, support you, honor you. And so often, especially after something like that, you blame yourself. And it's like, that's the other thing that I thought was great is he said, one of the things that really helped him was going out and feeling the pain. And, we think our job as a society is to help people avoid pain, take all the pain away from that person. In a situation like that, you need pain. You have to
like
feel, right? But you need a safe outlet for it. People cut, people do this, people do. Come out and do something physically difficult. I'm not saying it has to be a Spartan race, so it's a great, great thing, but go and run, go and hike, go and do something, stand in freezing cold water.
We like that
That
one.
kind of pain allows you to tap into your ability to recover.
Well,
Yeah, and by the way, there's biological things going on there too, right?
100%.
With the brain,
Yeah.
and I was with my sister-in-law recently, who's a doctor, and she talks about these pathways in the brain.
Neural pathways, yeah.
And so it's not just psychological; it's actually physical. what's going
100%.
on.
You're talking about brain plasticity, and the more you fire a neural pathway repeating certain tasks, and that becomes a pathway that's like it's like a well-used highway, right? So you got to. Is that what you're referring
That's
to?
exactly what I was.
I
referring
think
to.
Joe.
And Carla's over there nodding her head.
Yeah, see, she's a doctor. Epigenetics, exactly. But Joe, I think in another interview I heard you say like when you get stuck in your head, you get stuck behind enemy lines or something. And I
Yes,
think
Yeah,
like
in
that's
your
a
head,
great
behind
line.
enemy lines.
yeah, and so I think for this guy, in certain things that just drive you to this absolute wallowing depths of isolation, right? You kind of lose sight of reality and you forget. And I think that's where a place like this community, where he says he came back out here and through the sport and through athleticism, he I did have a good point.
Well, no,
but community,
did.
and now he wants to give back to others. right?
Exactly.
That's the key. He learned. It's always a maturation, right? It's always climbing a ladder kind of thing. So he was down in the depth. He brought himself up to a level, and now he wants to go another level by pulling up other people.
And I love
That's
how
how
he
I
says he
view
keeps
it,
on trying
kinda.
to find his edge, and he like still hasn't found it, right?
And we talk
the
about
fire.
transformation, and there's all these examples. We'll describe transformation, and we'll talk to people what it is. You don't even have to describe this, and you've seen him transform. And the fact that they're bringing thousands of families who've gone through this incredibly difficult thing and welcoming them into a community that's going to make a difference for them, to me, that's the biggest value. And I want to say thank you so much for being part of our community on Spartan Up. You get to meet incredible people like Frank and Angel, and I think really every week we bring people who bring such a contribution, and I'm grateful for that. So,
And I think as hard as it is, and certainly becoming isolated and soloized has become a trend in our society. Like, if you're in that deep, dark place, just like, honestly, there's Spartan races all over the world and every week. And as hard as that one step might be just to go out there and do it, the second you're within this community, it's a really welcoming and healing place to be.
Just come out and watch the first one if you don't think you can
flip
do
it. Yeah.
I'll come and be part of the festival.
So I'll try and close again.
Oh, is that a close?
Thank you very much for joining us
very much for
on the
joining
Spartan
us.
Up podcast. We're glad you're part of our community. Love you.
Toodles.
Oh, I get it. Sorry.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Duke Cannon. Visit DukeCannon.com right now to get 15% off your first order with the promo code SPARTAN. Free shipping on orders over $35.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Spartan Up. We're here for you, to be your partner in resilience for mind and body. If you have goals, we're here for you with daily tips to keep you on track and interviews every Tuesday with inspiring, motivating people. The only thing we ask of you is to push yourself and push your limits and to help us get the word out. We're on a mission to rip 100 million people off the couch and give them the tools to keep going. So please, tell your friends about us. Subscribe. Share it if you like this episode, and let us know what you think. Are we on the right track? You can find us on Instagram at Spartan Up Podcast or on Twitter at Spartan Up Pod. See you next week.